How you doing? I am Don. I am the Gun Muse, and we are on idletools.com, Idle Tools on YouTube. And look at this beautiful picture here from BloomBerg, I think. Isn't this my BloomBerg one? Yeah, BloomBerg Law. All right. Not a place that gets reported from often. They're a leftist organization. So you got to take that into account when you're looking and reading at them. And what do I mean they're a leftist organization? It's news, Mr. Gun Muse. Don't you know the left is always right? As soon as they speak, all others must be silenced in order to make sure they're right. Welcome to the world of news today. And I do the news. I've owned the news. I've been a member of the Associated Press in the past and was promptly booted when... I don't want to say his name. My brain caught me. When somebody running for president got somebody else running for president to stop and screw up his own campaign. There's people in the inner circle I show the math to and show how big I was at one point in time, and the reason I chase blockchain technology is because of the news. Okay. If I'd have had blockchain technology built into my news organization back before blockchain was big, I would be huge today. I had 26 million readers. I got none now. Well, I don't have none. I got about 1 million people a month to go through a gaming channel, but they don't stop, look, and listen. They're just looking for how to cheat this, how to cheat that, you know. So let's talk about what's going on with the crypto market. All right. And I'll tell you one of the wisest things that Rush Limbaugh ever said. Rush Limbaugh is now dead, if you don't know. I had many chances where I met with a man, talked with a man. Brilliant man. Yeah, brilliant family. Really a brilliant family. That's why he got to be a brilliant man. Good roots. So we're going to talk about those roots. What is the roots of cryptocurrency farming and mining today? Miners, right? Miners are the roots. Miners turn their rigs off. Then once the miners turned the rigs off, there was no movement. Once you turn the movement off, there's no internal economy to make money from the mining. Literally, we duplicated what Biden did by saying, hey, how about we let the unions go on strike during Christmas and park all the ships offshore so none of their goods can come in, destroying the transportation network. Hey, how about we shut off a pipeline so that diesel fuel goes skyrocketing up while people have to have a lead time of 6 to 7 months to ordering goods, and all of a sudden the transportation of those goods went through the roof. Nobody paid attention to the cost of a container of goods. One of those ship containers you see on the ships when they're showing those things used to be $1,500 before Biden. Now it's $20,000 to fill one of those containers and get it moved from China. That's not 8%, folks. From $1,500 to $20,000 to move one of those containers, that's not 8%. That is China squeezing the crap out of us. And that is somebody allowing that to happen. But the cryptocurrency market is not the real world market. But I'm over here on BloomBerg Law because I started looking up some old articles that people aren't looking at when they report the news. Okay, because they're reading CoinDesk and man, those are leftist organizations. That are literally telling you what the federal government wants you to hear, so that they can drive down this new digital economy before the governments have to switch. Then the world governments are switching to digital currencies, which means at some point in time, there's going to be a country, and it might not be the United States because we are so damn big, that's going to put blockchain on top of their digital currency because they're separate things. Okay, once you put blockchain on top of digital currency for spending of your federal government, you now know where every dollar goes. And it's been verified. Proof of work turns around and it's going to find proof of people that make $100 and some odd million with only a $200,000 salary, like Nancy Pelosi. You will find that person and you'll be able to mark the moment she did it. Because at that point in time, once you go blockchain on the government, no one that's a representative gets privacy. You shouldn't be letting them say they have privacy now, but we do let them say it. Under the Constitution, my congressman is a servant. They have no rights to privacy. They have no right to speak. To walk out and tell everybody, I think you should harass Republicans while they're eating dinner, and I think you should go to jail for inciting riots. And it's not even a leap. I don't want either side doing it. We know which side has been doing it to which side. There hasn't been a big conservative group going over and making sure Nancy Pelosi can't have a nice dinner. It hadn't happened. Because if it did, it'd be the leading news story on CNN for the next 7 months. You would think them trying to find that plane that went down to Malaysia was an overplayed hand, right? 8 months later, day 160, we still haven't found the plane. Because Trump was doing good work. We can't be talking about that. We can't be talking about the positive economy, all those people going back to work. Couldn't talk about any of that stuff. We still looking for the plane. Let's go to our reporter asking an asinine question. So crypto lawsuits deluge has big firms scrambling to keep up. All right, they're talking about trading firms that got into the cryptocurrencies. Now, when the market started drifting down, they needed to put their Bitcoin and other crypto holdings back on their books while they still had more value than what they did. Because Bitcoin is a property, it's not a currency. You can't go over and tell the IRS or tell your stockholders, hey, but we own, $2 billion worth of Bitcoin. Well, that's like owning a building. That at that point, that is your value as a company. Should you go bankrupt, I'm glad you had $2 billion worth of Bitcoin over here, but you went bankrupt. The $2 billion worth of Bitcoin belongs with the bankruptcy now. Let's say you went bankrupt because you were $100 million in the hole. Well, doesn't it sound stupid not to sell your $2 billion worth of Bitcoin? They can put it off as property and bring it back as currency, when they sell it. Now, if they sell it they got to IRSs. Once it goes into their bank, now it's money that's been made off selling property. IRS laws start applying, okay? The separation of thought is not taking place by anybody. And we've got our three, there might be, you got Hawk Mining who's building a mining farm, or not a mining farm, but building a server farm. And I feel for him, real world construction during a downturn of two economies, his crypto economy and the real world economy. And I hate saying real world economy, but we need to separate the two. I hope that doesn't become a coin term. I really don't. I've got to think of something better than real world economy and crypto economy. But I need to put a line between them during this conversation. And by saying real world economy is saying that the crypto world is fake, and that's not what I mean in any shape, manner, form. The pain is real. Oh my God, the pain is real. So we need to be looking. So there, all these lawsuits, over 200 lawsuits. This is what the news is talking about. Let me get the date on this. This is from May 17th. You know why this is May of this year? Because not a single GPU crypto miner read a single news story from back in November 2021. November 2021, when the crypto market started crashing, not a single YouTuber with collectively over 2 million followers, 3 million followers amongst the top 5, not one reported that a jury said, hey, you can't call it a security, stop calling it money. Don't believe me? There's the PDF. Federal court orders new trial to consider whether crypto. This is from July 7th of this year. All right. So start marking dates on your chart. It's like, oh, well, this is all pre-planned out, and this is the way the market moves. And it's, well, what's pre-planned out is jumping the news on top of what is a charted event. We know it happens. It's a cycle. It has to do with politics. The 4-year cycle of cryptocurrency is right on track to how we swap back and forth between a Democrat and a Republicans being in charge. When the economy starts kicking back up, and how long is it going to take a Republican Congress, a Republican Senate, to constantly be writing new laws and having to override the veto of this president? And then have to deal with the regulatory input that is almost solely controlled by the president. Well, look, the Republican ideas are not working because Joe Bob, you got working over at the EPA, is over there saying, I'm an idiot. I'm going to act like turning your car off at night is what makes it get cooler. If your car's not running, that's what makes the sun go down. The overregulation, manipulation of an industry of any kind in order to make them want to donate to one party or another. It's where they make their money. It's how they make their money. When somebody's out buying ads for a politician, there's a guy on staff at every single politician who gets a 15% cut on that $1 billion you gave to Barack Obama, or that $1 billion you gave to a Republican candidate. Somebody made $150 million net for that money you donated. Every time he takes your money, spends it with a media outlet, he gets a 15% cut. You don't know how that works. So it's always, hey, come to my website, donate money. We need your help. Because it's usually a spouse or a family member that's getting that 15% cut from all the donations. That's how you get in that Biden family. How did what do you mean he's money laundering? You can't let the family meth addict manage balance the books for our money laundering operation? Who knew? It's brilliant. All right. So federal court orders a new trial to consider whether or not cryptocurrency constitutes a security. Why do they have to order a new trial? Because now they got a judge shop. They got a judge shop to a judge who will not allow the jury to be the jury. The most powerful portion of our judicial, I shouldn't be pounding the table. I'm pounding the table. The most powerful portion of our system is the jury. A jury has more power than a judge does. A jury has more power than a judge does. So when the jury come back and said, hey, you can't call it a security. Boom, finished law. You can now turn around and appeal that case. Appeal that case if you want to, but no judge in their right mind is going to override a jury because they will never find any legal ability to do so. Never find any legal ability to do so. Orders a new trial to consider. They're trying to find a new jury. They're trying to find a jury in a very special district. And then they're going to jury shop. And if you don't think that billionaires who are trying to get the crypto market down as low as they can get it to buy in at the very bottom of what's about to become a worldwide digital currency community. Once we get to a digital currency community, it inevitably whittles down to who's in charge of that. Who's the umpampa? Well, we can't let Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's damn near anonymous. Bitcoin operates without anybody's oversight, anybody's injection. If you're trying to run the world the way it's been run for the last 1,000 some odd plus years, you need central banking, not people in charge of their own money. The difference between leftist thinking and conservative thinking when it comes to money is leftist believes all money belongs to the government because they printed it. And if they choose to let you keep a little bit of it, that's how the economy works. When they say the economy's doing better, always look at the fact they mean the government is collecting more money. That is always the reference to whether the economy is doing better. They say it in general terms so that your brain inserts, wait a minute, I'm paying $8 for gas. All of a sudden it's like, they don't mean you. They're not talking about you. And it's a very cherry-picked conversation of words. The word salad that goes in there is just cherry-picked to an inch. And this is why the crypto chain that I'm trying to put together is about allowing a voice that comes out of the darkness to have the ability to get in front of people without anybody being able to stop it, change the words, or maybe that voice wants to be anonymous as they put it out there. But they can't stop the opinion from spreading. And blockchain technology has the ability to really conquer free speech. In my mind it does. It hasn't yet. I can see the math, having done it, having been suppressed. I am the gun muse, guys. You guys have no clue how much I got scrubbed before 2010. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of articles on me prior to 2010. You don't know who the hell I am. You know why? I didn't want anybody to know who I was. I was just out doing my own little thing, running my own little stuff, doing my own advisory, building my own service. I didn't want to be a social media platform. Now that I'm disabled, I sit in front of the chair a lot more, and I'm willing to put my face out there because I just don't care. Belittle me, badger me, it doesn't sink into me. I listen to the comments if it's got validity and facts behind it. If it doesn't, I know how the left fights. First, they make a declarative statement completely the opposite of what you're saying, and then when you ask them to justify it, they insult you. I don't care what we're talking about. I will demonstrate it when we start doing lives. I will demonstrate it over and over and over and over again. I will ask the question and then wait for the insult to be the answer. Only if, my ego, in my youth, I suffered from a high IQ. All right. I got over 160 IQ, and that means a low EQ. Think Sheldon Cooper on Big Bang Theory. Okay. But insults don't sink in because the insult doesn't have a fact to it. So it just, when you have a high IQ, you tend to think in facts, talk in facts, and you tend to talk over people's heads, and you get a lot of, I don't understand what you're saying half the time. And as I've aged, I've come to understand that people don't always understand what I'm saying when I'm saying it. And I'm happy to slow down, go back, and try and fill in the steps that my brain skipped. Okay? It's not that the fact isn't there. I may have jumped right over it because I don't think down on my audience. I don't think down on my friends. I don't think down on my families. I assume they know what I'm talking about. But my family and friends around me all know. It's if you've watched me on the Gun Muse channel for a while, the lives we do with it. We call it Thinking Muse. The whole team knew that it was okay to not understand what I was saying and to ask me to break it down so that they understood. And it got to be the joke. We call it Thinking Muse. Ask him to dumb it down for us a little bit. And it's not a dumbing down. That's the wrong words. I use those words, and I wish I wouldn't. It's not dumbing down. It's just that, I'm skipping the math, telling everybody the answer. All right? When the teacher asks you in school, show your work. I don't show my work. When I was in the Navy Electronics School, all right, and I do my tests, blah, 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 turn them in. I'd be the first guy to turn them in. First guy to turn it in, I've always been the first person to finish the test. Always. Boom, boom, knock it in. The 3-hour advancement exams, ETs are the last people left in their things because it's 150 technical questions. It is 150 questions. It's 150 very technical and deep questions for your advancement exams. I'm beating people on how you tie a knot. And everybody goes like, you're done. They think you just filled in the circles. Then you wait 4 months later and come back and I'm one of the top ranked guys in the Navy on the test. And that hurt my leader's ego. They know they took hours to get those tests done. I'm knocking them out in 30, 40 minutes. That hurt people. There was, my senior year in high school, I took geometry because I needed one more math credit. And I'd taken all these advanced math classes, but it was like the last math that I could take and still get that last math credit for high school. And they had a weird setup in there where you got your daily assignments for math that were worth 10 points. And then for extra credit for people that fell behind, there was this really uber hard to solve math problem that was worth 50. In other words, the one uber extra credit thing was worth all the points you needed. The 10 daily test points was worth 50 for the week. And then you got 50 to catch your grade up for the quarter because they were so hard. I didn't do my daily assignment. I didn't do my work. I just did. I turned in the hard answer, every time. And this guys got to remember, this was before Google. Google didn't exist. You had to actually do the math. And my friend, and she was my friend, Julie. She was balling. He doesn't do his work in class. He fucks off all the goddamn time. He gets 100%, and I try, and I only get a freaking C. And it was a first-year teacher. I mean, he takes me aside like, look, you can't do this. It's like, and I'm like, this is not my fault they can't keep up. And I've been in that position for a long, long time. It's not my fault that people can't jump forward and see the answer. It's just the way my brain works. I'm a Pythagorean thinker. I know the unknown because I know the known. And I can fill in the gaps of what's unknown to bridge to the unknown. It's not just 2 pieces of information to get the third. Sometimes it's 15 pieces of information to get one. And then once you got that one, it unlocks a whole chain of events. So I'm putting this video out because of the YouTubers I'm following. I'm listening to. I was paying attention to. The Son of Tech, Red Panda Mining, Foscoin, all right, have been running 2 months of videos of how they're quitting. All while talking about the good old grand days of the year 2017. You mean the start of the Trump administration? Go out and insult your audience about that. Holy crap. The grand old days of the year 2017. You mean the start of the Trump administration. How about throwing a little real world politics out there? Oh no. YouTube will ban me if I say Trump really made our lives better. How good was a Republican president like Trump? Not just any Republican president. George Bush could not do what Trump did. You know why? Because Trump didn't give a shit about anybody else's opinion. He only gave a damn about right and wrong. He stood in front of the media every day and says, I don't need to explain to you what I can see 15 steps ahead of me. In this gaming world since 2017, everybody keeps calling me Trump, thinking that's an insult. I'm like, I get the man. I know why he does certain things. I know why he picks on certain media outlets and then lets it drop and looks like he's not defending himself. I called it the redneck rope-a-dope in the media days. I go in there and act like a dumbass redneck. I'm a hick. You're smarter than me. Go ahead. Show me what you got. Powder puff punches, right? But Rush Limbaugh said something. If they don't make you, they can't break you. And for those people with 200,000 subscribers on YouTube, please don't look at your own number and believe you made it. The news early on, starting 2017, was how much money everybody was making, and you couldn't stop it. Because it was literally idiot proof. Buy a card, follow a how-to video on YouTube, and all of a sudden you had more money at the end of the month than you did last month. Ignore your sunk costs. That money's gone. Your next pay your audience's next paycheck came in. They figured out how to scramble, or they turned on their computer and started making money with their computer while they were at work. We had a great economy. Everybody was at work. When they came home and when they started losing their jobs, and they started turning around and going, I might have to make some money off of this thing to eat. Oh, wait, the government's going to turn around and hand $5,000 out to people who didn't make $5,000 a month. They got into crypto mining, thinking, well, I need to get into a side job, a side hustle, when this free money goes away. Boom, you went up even more. I got a 200,000. That market is gone. Where are you today? Stop being such sad sacks. I wish I could reach through the screen and slap them back into reality, because they all have value in this market. Vosscoin and Red Panda Mining, not as much value as Son of Tech. Son of Tech's got value because he does his homework, his research, and he should be leading the market. And right now he's just trying to figure out, it's like, oh, I need $70,000 a year and I'll be fine. I don't make $70,000 a year. I got $2,000 a month worth of blow money, and I don't make $70,000 a year. I make $36,000 is what I make right now. But my car is paid for, my house is paid for. My wife takes me out to dinner. Man, look, I'm in a different position in my life. I'm older. I've paid off my bills. I got, I didn't think that this fluctuating market was going to be something that I worried about. I made, over 60 grand last year in crypto, and it's all sitting out in my shed, turned off like everybody else's is, except for one rig. I got one 500 mega hash rig that is, $160 a month to run. I'm at 14 cents a kilowatt, and it's what I'm spec mining with. So my next set of videos on here is about spec mining. And I would hate for people, my videos on spec mining are not going to be about what coin to go spec mine on. The first set of videos is going to be, how does somebody who never been in crypto set up to prepare to spec mine? Well, we did those videos 4 years ago. You can go on YouTube and look at it. YouTube is like Dory the fish with a 10-day cycle. 10 days now. If you are not linking to your older content because it's still relevant in some way, shape, manner, or form, and driving traffic to that old content, YouTube will kill that content. There's a little bit of free advice on the math logarithm that's in Google and YouTube. Guys, in the early days, the Gun Muse magazine was one of the leading search engines. There are still one or two articles. You can go out there and go Donnie Larison search engine, and you'll find articles out in England because they scrubbed it off of every other website on the planet. It's the only one that I know of that still has an article about search engines being biased, written in the year 2005. Google, Nancy Pelosi, John Kerry. Hey, ever heard of these big bad government people? All mentioned in the same article with me when we're talking about bias in the year 2005. I am Google's enemy. There's a reason my live on Gun Muse channel is called The Muted Gun Muse. Because I get scrubbed. I have to fight through an algorithm that these other people do not have to fight through. Yes, there's suppression in what they talk about. It ain't as bad as mine. You have no clue what I've got to do to get somebody to click subscribe. Just to get in front of them to click subscribe. I probably put a good hour into every 10 subscribers of effort. That's a lot. Not mention these videos. The videos are separate from the hours I got to do to get in front of people, to see the content, to understand why I think they should follow what I'm doing, because I'm going to be honest with them as an audience about where it is and what they should have prepared for. Well, I had to turn my farm off because I can't afford to run the electricity. Well, there you go. There you go. You couldn't afford to run it now. Then you really couldn't afford to run it before. Hopefully you made back your money. You didn't jump in so late. Looking at one of those videos from 2 years ago, guys, if somebody went and looked at your videos 2 years ago and says, well, my God, look at all the money on the screen that he's making per day. You keep telling people go back and look at your old videos. Hell no, don't let them do that. They're going to get the wrong impression of how to spec mine, and that spec mining is for people who can afford to spec mine. Somebody that can put $500 into a spec mining rig, and that's my next few videos on how to build a spec mining rig separate from your computer. How to build a $500 spec mining rig. We're gonna Sanford and Son this son bitch. Cheap, 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 and get you into something that's going to let you tinker around, learn Linux, break your shit, be able to fix your stuff, because I have to do that same thing. And while I've run servers for 22 years, I'm not fluent at it, and the technology changes, and I'm not an IT guy. I'm not living in the world of what the next Apache patch is going to do to my server. I'm just praying to God it doesn't blow it up. And it does do that. Well, the next Apache patch turned around and made it, and I'm using the kernel in some way that violates the security protocol. That happens. It's happened many times over the last 2 decades. We deal with it. We know what we did. Hey, we upgraded Apache. We upgraded the kernel, and the shit stopped working. Not hard to figure out. I touched it. I know what broke it. Is the answer to backgrade us? Or do we need to go in there and fix our stuff so that we don't have to be downgraded? And the answer is always go and fix our stuff so we don't have to be downgraded, right? That's always the answer. So we don't have to sit around and think about that stuff. But they've got to stop. Those 3 major ones, you're talking about 700,000 subscribers. If no one's penetrating your video, that's because you're not teaching them something. You're not helping get them in the mental space of why they need to keep listening to you. I get it. I really do. The mining farm was your baby. It was your enjoyment. And you got to go on YouTube and make a little extra money. And the minute the mining farm in bulk didn't go to a Bitsby Trippin status. Bitsby Trippin's latest video, as of this writing, was about how he is working the ground plane between his crypto farm and his new substation. And I know he's talking over his audience. And I love that video. Not talking over me. I get it. I'm doing the same thing. I got grounds going in the concrete. I got grounds going out from my building. And a single GPU miner went out there and talked about how to ground out your building properly, because they don't understand why they would do that. Ground is ground. Ground is not ground. Ground is an area of effect. Think of it in magical terms. It's an area of effect. And so there's a whole bunch of technical stuff that goes on, when you're at the 5 megawatt level that Bitsby Trippin been going on. But to hear him be doing that, that's delay in his construction while that's getting done. Well, it's not really a delay. It needs to be done because of what he's going to do in that building. It needs to get done. I would almost guarantee you it's going to be under what it should be. Just based on me troubleshooting floating grounding buildings over the last couple of decades for people. When those really, really hard problems come out, and I've done it for dairy farms, where, a half a volt difference between the grate the cow's standing on and the machine is enough to cause mastitis. They lose 20% of their milk production. And to go in there and mathematically show them that, hey, if we ran 6 grounds out from the building, regrounded out your machines and the grates the cows stand on, your mastitis, your infection in the cow will go away if we put proper grounds in the building. Try holding that argument with somebody who doesn't know what you're talking about. Honestly, I had a dairy farmer just randomly says, I heard this theory. I read this article. Could you prove this on my farm? Somebody wrote an article he read in some magazine, and he asked me to come out and prove it. I said, yeah, I can prove that. And I built a system on how to prove it, and then they turned around and they taught some idiot at the local electrician shop how to do it. And then I never got to convert that into a business model. I was thinking, man, this could be a nice little business model. I could hire somebody out there, train them out, have them go out and, travel around the country and do these dairy farms. I built the technique. They looked at it, stole it, went and gave it to the local electrician that they always hire. Hey, I need you to be checking this when you do this. It is what it is, guys. Somebody's always going to steal your work. That's life. Complaining and bitching about it ain't it things. We communicate in the base 10 math when we're talking about math. And whether we're talking about base 10, base 8, hexadecimal, the first number in all math systems is 0. To tell me you didn't plan for 0 being a possibility in your math plan, that's poor math. That's poor planning. You didn't plan for 0. What can I do when the farm is not allowed to make any money? Because 0 when you're renting a building is not 0, is it? That's negative $1,500 a month. If you're having to rent commercial property, that's not 0. That's dying. If you can just halt construction and wait for the market to come back, that's one thing. But they need to separate their mind from their news outlet channel. Stop reading. What else did I pull up here? Oh no, that was I was watching the Bitsby Trippin thing. Okay. Understand what the federal government's doing. They've been told by juries, stop calling crypto securities. They've been ordered to. They just didn't. The government doesn't want to listen to the people that it went and asked and says, we think there are scumbag criminal organizations that are just that are selling drugs and doing all these nasty, dirty things, and that's what crypto is. It's just a way to move money. Well, yeah, those guys can move money. But that isn't the bulk of the money. If that was the bulk of the money, the transaction fees would still be there for mining. Guys, this death of mining disproves how much criminal activity, because criminal activity is through the roof. All these millions and millions of people coming across the border are sending money back to their home countries. You don't think that those crypto ATMs that just showed up down there at the local gas and sip, Toot and Scoot, 7-Eleven, whatever you got down there, you see those crypto machines? That's to send money back from an illegal to their family. Those went in the minute the border got deluged by people. That's what got deluged, was our border. It's the number one source of income. It's the number 3 source of income for Mexico, is money sent back from the States. That's the number 3 source of income. Billions and billions of dollars. And quite frankly, those ATMs, the fees on those are pretty damn high. But they don't have to send that money via those ATMs. They only got to deposit that. They can make a deal with their boss to deposit money via crypto. If it's an illegal working and I was an illegal, I'd say, hey boss, could you give me half my money in Bitcoin? And then I send Bitcoin down to my family. Doesn't cost me squat to send it. I don't have to pay the $30 fee to send it to them, because that $30 is important to me. And then we'll turn around. That's why the federal government is wanting to get involved, is because instead of handing people cash and then these ATMs down at the local 7-Eleven, they go deposit the cash. It goes into a Bitcoin account. And then on the other end, somebody else has another one of those cards that's tied to those Bitcoin accounts. And away it goes. There's cheaper ways of doing it. How about doing that, GPU miners? How about telling illegals how they go get a Crypto.com card, get 2 of them, they can go deposit to their Crypto.com account via PayPal. You can go down to Walmart and insert PayPal for nothing. You can move PayPal to Coinbase for nothing, and somebody can have that credit card in a third world country and get it out for less than a 4% fee. That's cheaper for illegals moving money. Hey, there's a market. There's a topic. Show them how it's done. Show them how they set up a system to where they tried to squeeze the market, but act like the market isn't there. Those illegals aren't there. They're not doing that stuff. They're sending that money back. And I'm not saying, I shouldn't be saying illegals. As soon as you get here and you talk to an officer, you're no longer an illegal. You have more rights than a citizen of the United States. You got that green card, you got you got that court date on paper. They're not even writing you a ticket. You're not even getting a speeding ticket. Quite frankly, I'm tired of the illegals who don't stop and talk at the border because they drive slower than shit. God, my God, it doesn't take 10 minutes to turn a corner, guys. Whew, just terrible. I live down in southern New Mexico, and I've lived here for, most of my adult life and a portion of my childhood. Right on the border. The little town called Rodeo, population 7, and in another town where my grandma lived, Douglas is where one of the places I first went to school, which is a border town. Don't listen to the media that all those people with lack of melatonin are a bunch of racist son of bitches, because at the end of the day, my heritage is American Indian anyway. I just don't look it. I got a wee bit of Irish, so I like the firewater, and I like a lot of it. All right. So I'm hoping that we can get a couple people to look at this, and that the people that are looking at this share this with those guys and say, look, stop the sad sack talk. It ain't costing you money to make a YouTube video. Trying to depress your 200,000 people will make sure they do not come back to your next video. Now, I may be too late in telling you this, to being honest with you about this. But you got to stop. You need to stop participating in the decline of this market. I want you to think about this market. If mining is mining up the fees, then how did ETH coming out make everything else unprofitable? If that other stuff was profitable before, it was moving around and generating fees. You just stopped. You let the sad sack commentary turn around and tell you, oh, I don't see any way out of it. Go turn everything off. You told the crypto economy to stop. We're literally repeating the left's ability to shut down our real world economy. Don't go to work. Restaurants you can't open. You can't do this. Don't do that. You're stopping the economy. Now, you can't ask people to go out there and spend $400 or $500, $1,000 a month on electricity bill and turn on the big farms again. And going chasing speculation coins like it's 2015, 2016, that's not gonna fuel this fire either. But we need to recognize what we did to ourselves, and I'm gonna throw myself into that. I'm gonna throw myself next to those three guys because I talk with each of those guys. They talk pleasant with me most of the time with me, but they don't get me because I jump over facts. So nobody covered the fact that a jury told the government, no, you can't do that. And the latest argument I've been having, and I honestly was coming on here to talk about this. I'll go ahead and put it on the end of this. I'll make it long. Shorting, there was an article about how somebody lost all their money shorting something, and then it bounced right back out because there was a super fast dip, and it came back out, and they lost all their money. Okay, you cannot lose your money if you're shorting. You can't. It's not how crypto works. It's property. You can lose your ass if you borrowed money on some weird margin call crypto chain where you're borrowing money to play in dips, you're going to lose your ass. But if I own Bitcoin at 20,000 and it falls to 10,000, so I own one Bitcoin, it falls to 10,000. How many Bitcoin do I have? One. Did I lose $10,000? No. I still got one Bitcoin. I haven't lost any Bitcoin. None. They're playing with your mind. One Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. You're referencing everything to a dollar that's in a separate world. One Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. If I have one Bitcoin at 20,000, when it falls to 10,000, I still have one Bitcoin. If I sell it for US dollars when it's worth 10,000, hey, yeah, I don't have $20,000. You never had $20,000. You had one Bitcoin. So on ledgers that allow shorting, it's a misuse of the word. If I have a Bitcoin at $20,000 and I go and tell the ledger, I want you to convert that to USDT or USD or some other currency so that I have $20,000 of my stable coin, and I'm going to bet that Bitcoin's going down to 10,000, so I'm going to put a buy in at, say, 15,000. And boom, it happens. It heads down to 10,000, and at 15,000, somebody's going to sell me that back. Right? I just bought a Bitcoin for 15,000. I got my $5,000 of USDT I didn't spend, and my $15,000 Bitcoin. Oh, it just dropped down to 10,000. I still got one Bitcoin. I haven't lost anything. I still have my stable coin. Unless it crashed in the middle of something, I still got it. That's how shorting works. It's an offer to buy at a lower price. It is not you loaning it to a third-party blockchain in a smart contract somewhere, and then they're going to say your one Bitcoin is worth 100 Bitcoins, but if these events take place, you're going to lose all your Bitcoin. That's somebody's smart contract that screwed you. The news is wrong. The news is trying to generate fear. Guys, on this channel, I have been mining from the short for 14 months. Mining to the short for 14 months. I have yet to lose a single nickel shorting money, shorting crypto. And I do it blindly. I let my DCA bot just do what DCA bots do. All right? And I have never lost a single nickel of value of the crypto that I'm holding. I get more of it, and I don't spend a penny in electricity getting it. Mining to the short is you using your mining farm's power for when crypto goes up. Mining is the bull run side of crypto. Shorting is the bear side of crypto, right? It's right in the name. The bear side of crypto. So I make money from my trading as it goes down, and I make money from my farm as it goes up. And since I got a big farm, I can literally outrun most bull runs because I got a pretty big farm now. It was hard to do that. Last year I was making $26 a day with one RX 580 and a trade to the short account. You can't make $28 a day with just an RX 580. You couldn't then, you can't, you damn sure can now. So yes, do I have to modernize some of my equipment? Sure do. I know what I'm looking at next. We'll talk about it. I already know what I'm buying. Matter of fact, the reason I'm not talking about it is I don't want to help anybody else because right now I'm trying to take advantage of the bear market while people are selling off equipment. That's just the absolute truth. Christmas is coming. People lost their jobs. People over invested. So they're going to sell off cards one by one, little by little. GPU mining is not dead. I promise you it's not dead because speculation mining is always going to exist. always going to exist. That's always going to exist. The ASIC world is for people who have a crap load of money and are able to diversify ASICs, efficient ASICs. If you haven't done your ASIC math based on a 30% increase in your electric cost within the next year, and this is financial advice. I'm at 14 cents a kilowatt right now. I was at 8 a year ago. You would be delusional to think that the constant suppression of oil is not going to cause another, well, we got to raise the price of electricity again coming in January. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. You need to be figuring out how to succeed with 30% higher than you are now. Whatever your rate is, the cost of fuel is going up. And I promise you, solar and wind is not the fix, because everywhere they put solar and wind in industrially, the cost of your electricity goes up. They have to blend it with other forms of electricity generation. You better get your heads out of your asses and start going, why aren't we building nuclear plants? Nuclear plants is the only power plant companies borrow money from the federal government when they build power plants, right? Nuclear plants are the only ones who pay the money back. Everybody else loses money. Nuclear plants are able to be right below everybody else's electric cost when they sell their electricity. That's because the cost to generate that electricity is pennies compared to everything else. Nothing compares to what nuclear power does. Nothing. And they don't have to be great big monstrous plants like we built in the 70s. They just don't have to be. You just got to look at the freaking liberal left that doesn't want an American to have low-cost energy, and look at it as that. They will say anything, do anything to keep you from having low-cost energy. Because building the Hoover Dam, the 2,000 people who built the Hoover Dam, the construction worker labor did not spark up the economy. Cheap electricity all throughout the Southwest built industry for the next 3 to 4 decades until government sanctions got involved in hydropower. And I don't even like calling hydropower. It's gravity power. We're just using the water to utilize the gravity, right? The lake is a great big battery. Lake Mead, great big battery. It stores up gravity power. That's the way you should be talking about hydropower. I saw somebody the other day says, well, I had this idea about using wind and solar to pump water back up to a storage and then letting the generator from the water coming down. Yeah, you're not the only one who had the idea. I submitted it to Congress in the year 2003. Said if we're going to build all these windmills and solar plants, then we should be putting them downstream of Lake Mead, pumping water back up. Well, we would run out of water. It doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. You're not removing the water from the planet. You're just moving it back up to make sure that the gravity is at maximum potential. If it's the summer, we'll call it the liberal drought season. If it's summer and it's not raining and the water levels are naturally low, you're just maintaining your gravity for power production. The amount of water flowing down the river doesn't change. The amount of water flowing in doesn't change. Even if you think there's an environmental cause of it, that math does not change. Water flowing in, water flowing out, you need to release downriver whatever flowed inriver, or you'll overflow the dam. Period. Maintaining a level in the dam is not stealing water. It's just momentarily relocating it for future use. Is what it is, but you can't get anybody past that basic math thinking. I'm hoping that this channel breaks down into more interviews. And I'm hoping that I can be mean enough to inspire some of these guys. Like, yeah, I'm going to go do it. I'm going to get to spark some drive in them. I really want to spark some drive in them because you're there, but you're letting the bad portion of one business influence another business. They're separate businesses. They have separate goals. You went onto YouTube, you filmed your mining, and this is one of the things where I say we're like Red Panda Mining. He's got a heart condition going on here because you're vlogging about how big you are. People watched you to dream, Red Panda. They watched you to dream, and you're telling them the dream is dead. Won't ever come back. I think ASICs are the winners because the right ASICs right now are still making money. They keep letting what demines numbers get into their head of how they're going to run. It's not how it works. The GPU mining will come back. The fact that those GPUs are not on ETH anymore is a problem with GPU mining. But that's not the problem with GPU mining. It's not death of GPU mining. No one's going to build a whole crap load of ASICs for third-party chains. When we get into new currencies, GPUs are going to, with new chain technology, things like that, GPUs are going to lead the market in that. So right now we're lacking ideas, but we're also lacking inspiration from people with hundreds of thousands of followers to say, okay, guys, what's the one thing that you're going to be working on that you're going to throw money into? And yes, speculation mining should be the way to go for everybody, but it should not. But dual mining is our fix. Dual mining is the fix. How do we make the most out of dual mining? To push the graphics cards, to bring it down to one rig, to maximize the cooling systems. I'm doing that. I got a nice dual mining spec rig now. I don't care what the temperature is, literally blowing 50% more air through it than an ASIC. So that I can get the maximum potential out of a GPU to get two coins going. The one that pays the electric bill, or comes close, and the other coin that I'm speculating on. That's what we're doing. Am I making money? Am I making more money at the end of the month than I did at the beginning? No. But the goal here is to hold a coin that I think has got a future to it. But that future's 18 months, 2 years away. I just know how much money I can spend. Maybe that money is only one card, two cards. But building a separated mining rig for a one card operation is the right thing to do. So we're going to be talking about that. I need to get up over 1,000 subs in 4,000 hours. I'm like, at the time I'm shooting this video, I am 50 hours away and 22 subs away to monetize the channel. Why do I need to monetize the channel? Not for money. It changes the algorithm. All right. It changes the algorithm. I'm dealing with the intro logarithm for new YouTubers, and it's not the same as the regular algorithm. I run two different channels. I know what the difference is. I will get into that later because, like, my last video did this shoot up of a couple thousand people, then went dead for 5 days, and all of a sudden, 4 days later, 500 more people came in. And that's just YouTube trying to figure out where I belong and who I belong in front of. Because YouTube's goal is to get people to watch more stuff, watch more hours. I make long videos. I blather on forever. But I'm also available. Okay, down in the description below, in my description, which is someplace most people don't even look anymore, is my Discord channel, my LinkedIn, do not use my LinkedIn to ask me, personal questions. If you are running a business operation or want to work with me business-wise, contact me on LinkedIn. Okay? LinkedIn's a business. It is not your social platform. I got my Twitter. I don't look at Twitter. I don't have Twitter activated on my phone. I don't know if anybody tweets me, DMs me, whatever's going on. I don't know. And one of the reasons is I got shadow blocked in January 2017. I was National Deputy Chief of Staff Veterans of Foreign Wars. They went after conservatives starting the minute Trump won the election. They went after anybody that had influence. As a national, I had 1.6 million combat veterans underneath me. And I was gaining 3,000. I was gaining 1,000 subscribers every week in the month of January when I started my Twitter account. And as I was going around talking to people and handing out a card that had the Twitter on it, it's like, well, put Twitter on your phone. And then when I have something to say, I'll tell you. And then your phone will ding, and I'll be the only guy that dings you on Twitter because you don't follow Twitter anyway. Yeah. And I actually had 65, 70-year-old men signing up for Twitter. But what are you going to do when your communication's blocked, hindered, hampered? Somebody tells you it's all fudge. You can't be there. Hey, he's a liar. Blah, blah, blah. This is what we're this is why we got to fix. This is why I need a blockchain that's immune from market forces, that survives off market forces, but is immune from a market force trying to shut down the communication. Is a better way of putting it. There's a lot of facets to this. I've been doing this for a couple decades. I've got a very grandiose dream that no one else has. All right. So, it is what it is, man. You look over on the Facebook, you see a picture of the man standing in front of the very first computer. It's in black and white. And I tell people, and people are like, what the hell is that? And I'm like, that's the first computer. And I tell everybody, that picture inspires me. Because if you don't think everybody around that man told him he was a nutter butter, what the hell are you talking about? I don't understand. You don't know what you're talking about, sir. And then there's a picture of the computer that worked, and he's standing in front of it. No one supports that man. No one supported that man. No one even knows his name. Because he's been cleansed. That kind of inspiration to know you're working on something no one's ever done before, and you're doing it because up here, it's important. It's important. It's going to be important to other people, and they don't even know that yet. They hated him for trying to build a computer. They hated Edison for trying to build a light bulb. Who needs that? Who's going to use electricity? Do you understand? Put yourself in Edison's position. A light bulb hasn't been invented yet. I'll dumb this down a little bit. A light bulb hasn't been invented. And that man can envision everybody needing one. Everybody needing something that hasn't been invented in a market where there are no transmission lines. They don't exist. Everybody's going to need this. All right. I hope I'm one of those kind of inventors or geniuses. I hope that I can see people using the tool I'm wanting to build. Open and free communications, the ability to pay publishers, the ability to pay writers. The most important ability is to pay the writers. To pay the writers, to pay the publishers for advertising, to be able to buy ads with somebody they want people to read. That's why it's important to pay the writers. Because the Associated Press suppresses, almost 58,000 stories a month. Because it doesn't meet the narrative that the people who control the Associated Press won't put out. We have the same problem in crypto news. The narrative. So if I'm talking over your heads when I read this stuff and I talk to you about this stuff, it's because I've been there, I've done that, and from my experience, I know what a narrative is. This suing people after you lose a lawsuit, welcome to the gun world. Oh, a jury told you to go to hell, quit trying to take people's property? Boom. Let's go find another judge, let's file another lawsuit. Let's do everything we can to win an election so we can appoint a judge who will ignore the law and say whatever we want him to say and literally write laws from the bench. That's what the SEC is trying to do. If you don't think I got experience in the crypto market, I've got gobs more experience in this than anybody in the crypto market's got. I've been fighting this bullshit for the last 25 years. Just take out the word cryptocurrency and insert the word gun. And I fight the same problems inside the gun industry that we fight in the crypto industry. Oh, I'm a group that's going to be talking to your congressman. Those spring up out of nowhere. Were you about to tell, you're going to tell him, like, you're going to ask him the question, what the hell have you done? I will send money to a group that hires a lawyer to sue anybody that falsely reports what the law is as a congressman. Walks out front of it, does an interview, says, hey, crypto is being used by criminals. No, it's not. We proved that. We have a crypto winner. So we've proved criminal activity is not driving the crypto market. If it was, there would be fees. Did ETH move the criminal activity to all ETH? Is that what happened? I'm just asking a question. Is all the criminal activity on ETH? Was the whole design of throwing money that came from freaking nowhere that made my ETH mineable instantly mega profitable? You couldn't slow it down, despite what anybody. And we had what is now our big media outlets on YouTube turn around and they're like, well, the free money's not there, and I don't know what to do next. Because now you got to do what you were supposed to be doing the first time, which is taking some of your money as a YouTuber and building a project on YouTube with your money and letting people follow the how-to. That's what I'm about to do. I got a couple $1,000s a month. I would rather be working on my blockchain or crypto chain. I would rather be supporting one of these megalithic, YouTubers to do the how-tos, and then I'll build the magazine up that funnels even more readers to them, more viewers to them. I've done it before. I can do it again. I can do that over and over and over again. I just don't have the time to do it all by myself and then walk over and say, oh, Mr. YouTuber, would you like free money? I'll send people over to look at your content now that I've gone and done all the hard work for you that you didn't do while you were growing. You're out there fishing for new subs, and you're fishing with dynamite. You couldn't help but get new subs. You don't know how to build up a market yet. But you have a base market that will stick with you, and let's find out that market is. Let's grow that market. That's a good thing. You're not starting from zero, but you're acting like a zero, and you're telling that market that's sticking with you, give up. Don't play the game. The game's not winnable. You've all been screwed. I got screwed, so you got screwed. The difference is you guys split your time. You didn't do well on either side. You didn't prepare for zero in your farms to make sure that when it goes to zero, that you didn't owe any bills. I think Voscoin just put out a video. I was out there borrowing money on one credit card, another credit card to build up my network. Yeah, that's not financial advice, but he also started it early enough in the bull run that he got out of doing that. All right. He got to the point where buying one more miner. You know what saved Voscoin? Is he got so big that he couldn't buy equipment. He had no place to put it. That saved Voscoin from going stupidly into bankruptcy, because he's building the farms and stuff right now. He has his money set out in his budget for that, and he's blowing over his budget. Hey, cost of labor's gone up, cost of electricity's gone up, cost of fuel's gone up. That means the cost of them workers and that construction's gone up. So now he's going to have to decide, well, what corners do I cut, or what do I sell to build my vision out and be bill free? Right? That's a reality from the outside. I don't have to talk to. I've never talked to Boscoin. I don't have to talk to him to know that those thoughts are running through his head. Those thoughts are running through every single one of Red Pine, Son of Tech, everybody's head. What am I going to have to give up to stay alive? If you built your business as a separate entity and you can bankrupt it, your business, without bankrupting personally, you can get away with you got in over your head. You hope you're there. Doesn't work that quite, limited liability does work that way. I'm not going to get into different structures of corporations. But again, take it from somebody who's built those up. We own a skydive drop zone. You know what a skydive drop zone has to have? A $10 million liability insurance policy. A walking liability policy. Hell, I, as a Yamaha distributor for Yamaha audio equipment, because we're talking about the high-end stuff where you do custom installs in people's homes, I had to have a $2 million walking liability policy. Because you go into nice homes, you can break some nice shit. You can burn down a really nice home. Your workers can. That never happened. Never had to use it. I never had to use it, but I had to have it. But on the skydive drop zone, we got sued 17 times. By skydivers? Nope. By spectators looking up at the sky who stubbed their toe on something. We had a scumbag lawyer that knew that we had an insurance policy, and they went out and literally advertised like you see on TV. Did your dad serve in Camp Lejeune and die 20 years ago? You can get money today. And we, the lawyers, will like to thank the Democratic Party for creating a multi-billion-dollar fund where we take 30% because somebody's dad died 20 years ago and never benefited from us taking the blame back then. And I state that message for my friend Mike, who is dying from Camp Lejeune. Who for 7 years the VA told him the fact that he couldn't walk was not a disability. And if you think I'm fucking kidding, I dare you to fucking challenge me on it. 7 years, they wouldn't call it a disability. And they wouldn't even acknowledge Camp Lejeune. The minute they acknowledged it, the minute they turned around and did it, then the lawyers had to wait for a big puddle of money. Because the reality is, most Camp Lejeune people are dead. This is about getting families to claim stuff. Because Camp Lejeune was 50 years ago. That's all there's. The number of people who lived is minuscule. And the VA never did fully acknowledge it. They just quietly acknowledged it. All right, way off topic. Like I said, I do a lot of military support. Most of the money that comes from my channels, my ad things goes straight to my personal military charity. I send it right in there. I do not get a salary from my charity. I do all my stuff for free. One of the reasons I got up into the crypto here is to expand the audience, because over on the gaming side, we've done some wonderful things for veterans as a charity that's not normally done. We bought firewood last year. Year before. Bought 7 semis of firewood for people who heat their homes with wood stoves. We bought wood pellets. And it's my gaming audience that bought it. I say we. It wasn't me alone. It was I got 1 million people a month going through that website, and they did it. It just meant a lot for me to do it. I get to go out and do the charity stuff, which is fulfilling for me, and I do the YouTube stuff that I don't like to make that happen. But because I don't get money from my YouTube stuff, I don't put that money in my pocket. Going down doesn't hurt me. I can just watch the math and the cycles and be a spectator and look at the math and say, I understand what makes it go up. I understand what makes it go down. Am I willing to put that work in? Okay. I do know what does it. I don't always do it. And I've got to challenge other people. And I'm just looking at the timer. I went 1 hour and 15 minutes on this. I'm sorry if anybody actually had to watch this for the whole full hour and 15 minutes. But we've got to stop killing our own. You've got to pull your head out of your ass. And I'll tell you, quite frankly, you have got to stop thinking you're the only fucking YouTuber that exists. Giving somebody else a view is not hurting you, it's helping you, you fucking morons. I can look with my software at every one of these major guys, and none of them even help themselves, let alone help their logarithm by helping someone else. YouTube will not give you any respect if you do not keep people wandering around YouTube. You've got to figure out how to make a third jump. Not just a second one, a third one. You make that third jump, called session time. You get 3 session times on a user. That gets credited to your YouTube account. That gives you barrier to entry power like nobody's business. You get to create keywords, change the language of the market. You have power at that point. You can't just keep slapping stuff out and hoping YouTube sends out a notification. They're not gonna. They don't even know what the hell you're talking about in the algorithm when you start talking about it. So they don't know how to suggest it to people yet. When you're the leader in the YouTube market on topics that aren't normal words, aren't understandable, or you're mixing languages with the finance market, you're competing against barrier to entry to the finance market. You did that. You have the power to change that. That's, you know what? I just realized that's what I'm not getting across when I'm talking to these guys is they have the power to create language which makes them relevant, and they didn't do it and they're not doing it. It's a shitload of work. You literally have to build your projects in reverse. You got to shoot the final video before you shoot the 4 before it. You got to shoot them backwards. You got to upload them all, and then you got to trickle them back out in the right order. But they all got to be on YouTube in private, ready to link them up properly with the proper end screens and the proper pull downs and the proper descriptions, and you going in and making sure you put comments that you pin at the top of the things. There's a whole bunch of work that has to be done just to play with YouTube. I've seen major Twitter guys who didn't even tweet out their own damn video. I'm looking at the math. The logarithm doesn't know you tweeted about it. You better find out why the software doesn't know you tweeted about it, because Google looks at that. Once you tweet about it, ask your Twitter market to retweet it, and Google will start chasing that too. Okay, it becomes second nature. It's not extra work, but you got to know how to do the work. You're not gonna YouTube follow other people on how to do that. I mean, there's guys out there that I learned from, but there's experience I learned from too. What to ignore, because you got to always keep in mind that the guy on YouTube, his goal is to get you to watch ads. If he actually teaches you something or not, doesn't really matter. And in the next segment, we're going to be talking about this. And that's what those YouTube videos teach you about, how to string the market along, how to frustrate your viewer. I haven't strung anybody along. I'm just free. I'm freewheeling here, and now we're at 1 hour and 18 minutes, and I got to stop this thing. I appreciate it. Thanks. Like and subscribe. Thank you for the hour views. I know I'll get enough viewers on this one to get me into my hour timing, and I hope I get enough subscribers out of this to do the same, and I appreciate it. Thank you.